And like, as soon as she said nope, that word is okay. So like, it's really hard to explain.
Mm.
Like she said one word to me, but like, imagine that one word is a zip file, right? And that zip file gets put into the, you put it on your desktop and then you click it and then you open it and there's all this other stuff inside of it, right? That's what the word nope was. It was a condensed file of other information.
Today, I'd like to welcome Anna Stone to the show. Welcome, Anna. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to you about your near-death experience, as well as how it's impacted your life. So, why don't we just dive in and talk about the day that you died?
Um, I was in 2016 and I I didn't know it at the time, but I was pregnant with an ectopic pregnancy and I didn't know. I just knew I was bleeding a lot, like for my cycle. It was just never ending. And like I actually like came out of the bathroom and I joked to my boyfriend and my daughter and said, I think I'm bleeding to death. And that's the last memory I have actually of that day until I was in the hospital. And I woke up in the hospital and I was hooked up to all these machines and it was a blood transfusion machine, which really creeped me out beyond, like just really the idea of someone else's blood. I don't know why it bothered me so much, but it didn't. But very quickly after that, I was told that I'd lost like half my blood volume. Like basically I had no blood. Like I was bleeding to death. And I started to feel this sensation come over me that I can't properly articulate with the language we have currently, but it was like I felt like if I had taken like I don't know, like every possible drug on the face of the planet, but like 1,000 times more of it than I should have, and it all kicked in at once. It was like this overwhelming, like something's very wrong. Like something is very wrong. Like I felt like I was gonna explode, like from the inside, like I was just gonna pop, and it was very stress inducing. Like I'm not gonna lie, I was very cognizant of the fact that I was dying. Like that was it, I knew that I'm oh my god I'm dying. Like this is not normal. And then like as soon as it got to the point where I was like got almost I couldn't take it anymore, this feeling, I just like popped out. And it was like poof, I just popped out and I was on the other side. Now I'm out of the bed, like standing, floating rather, um, next to my body. But I didn't recognize I wasn't without a body yet. I didn't figure that out. But I looked down, I looked at myself and I was like, shit, that sucks. I was like it. And then I was like, oh my gosh, oh man, I'm like not in there. Like I'm not like then it dawned on me that like I'm now I'm outside of my body. And so then I hear the machine, like I hear the heartbeat on the monitor start to like, escalate. And like one of the techs or assistants said, oh, she's crashing or we're losing her. And then they brought the crash cart over and they started doing the resuscitation. I flatlined and then they started doing the resuscitation. They did that for probably like 8 minutes or something. Like it was a while, but like I wasn't concerned with it at all. I was like, interesting.
And
Like,
so you were watching
yeah,
all of this
yep,
as it was
yep,
happening.
yep. Yeah, I was just there and I was just like I wasn't touching I was like floating. Like like when you like have a balloon in the house and you let it go and it hits the ceiling and it kind of bounces there. I did that. Like I floated up to the ceiling, kind of bounced off the ceiling a little bit. And like so it made me think I guess I have a form to me because I'm bouncing, like so it's
Mhm.
hitting some resistance. Um but then I realized like, oh damn, I died or like I'm dying. Then I thought about my children, and as soon as I thought about my children, my oldest one came to my mind first, and I was like instantaneously, like nanoseconds, was next to her in her classroom in college, which is like 210 miles away in Fresno. And I watched her; she was taking a test, and like I saw what she's wearing, and like her stressed out look on her face of taking this test, and I was like, okay, she'll be fine. And then I was like, okay, my little one Lucy, and like instantaneously back into the hospital again, like with her, she's in the waiting room and she's playing with like Legos on this little Lego table, and I'm like, okay, she'll be fine. And then back in the room again. Now I'm back in the next to my body, and then I hear the I hear the doctor say, like, okay, call it, like her time of death, right? And one of the technicians or the you know, like assistance was like already like, but she's only like 38. And the doctor said, he referenced something in my medical chart that I said I didn't want to be given any opiates because I had a previous addiction to them. And I was trying to be responsible, right? Like, don't give
Yeah.
me anything passed out or whatever, like, because I don't want those in my system. And the doctor made a comment about how, well, she's a former junkie. What do you expect? In regards to like why they're gonna let me like give up trying to save me, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I remember thinking like, that a necessary comment to make? Really? Like, did you need to say that? Like, I wasn't mad, but I was like, kind of a jerk thing. And then I like my attention was kind of drawn over to my left more, and like when I looked over that way, there was like another space that had opened up that hadn't been there previously. Like, I don't know, it was a dimension thing or what, but it was like a room, I guess. Like, but there was no, I couldn't see the walls or the floor. It was just a space. I don't really know how to put it. But it was like glowing kind of white, like yellowish white light. And so I am there all of a sudden because like I looked at it, so I guess I just moved there. I don't know. And like and there was nobody around. There's nobody there. Like, you know, I didn't see any tunnel. I didn't have there's no dead relatives. There was no Jesus, pearly gates, none of that. But I'm in this room and I did feel like I could sense that there was other energies around me. But I couldn't see them, but I could sense them. And I could sense that what they were doing was like they were, because they were staying. Like they were like, I guess souls, I guess they were souls that had died and like they were staying there. They weren't going back. So they were all kind of like hooking up and like the best way for me to put it is like they were like uploading all of their consciousness into some kind of database, like, you
Yeah.
know, like the collective. I would say like collective unconscious, like what Jung says, right?
Mhm.
And I was aware of that, but I couldn't see them. I just knew it was happening. And then all of a sudden I see somebody there's somebody and they're walking towards me and I'm like, and it's a woman, I could tell. And then she gets closer and it's like me. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like it's me, but like a little bit different. Like we look the same, but not like, it's like when you have identical twins, but you know, they have like very subtle differences. It was like that. And I looked at her and I mean, I guess this is my higher self, right? Like I believe that this is the person that like has lived all of my lifetimes and all the possibilities and like has all the knowledge of Anna Stone, you know, or whatever my actual name is, if we have one. And she like walked up to me and just looked at me and then and telepathically just said like one word, and that word was nope. And I like knew that that word meant that I was not staying, I was going back. And so I look back to my right and I look at my body and I'm like, how am I going to fit back into that? Like, because at this point now, I realized like in between the time that like she walked towards me and like or it came to me, I had realized that I don't have a body because I could see 360 degrees. So I was
Mhm.
like, how am I able to see in this way? It's so hard to describe in human terms, but how can I see this way? And I was like, oh, because I don't have any bones in my head that are preventing the eyesight in the back. But wait, I don't have a head or eyes. How am I seeing? Because I'm just like pinpoints of light and I'm huge. Like I could have extended myself out and wrapped my arms around the globe if I had want. I was huge. And like looking at my body, I'm like, that's like putting toothpaste back in the tube. Like, how am I gonna do, you know? And then like this, I didn't have much more time to think about it than that because all of a sudden I was like shot into like super fast through my navel, through my belly button, in back into my body. And that's when I saw a tunnel going back in. And it was really uncomfortable. It was painful to come back in. It hurt. And like that's what brought me back. Like, so that shooting of me through into my belly button and then I'm going into it and being condensed into this tiny space. It hurt so bad that like it shot me. I was like, I shot up off the bed and like was gasping for air because you know now I know like later I knew I had been dead for 6 minutes. Um, so I hadn't been breathing for 6 minutes. So like when I shot up, I had to breathe. Like I had taken this gulp of air that was like, you know, it was like if someone had held your head underwater until like just the point where you're gonna like inhale water, and but then they let go and you can breach the surface and you take that gasp of air that you need so desperately. It was like that, but like even worse because it's been 6 minutes. And like as soon as I came back, the doctors, everybody in the room was like freaked out because they had like not been, they've been doing like one person had his lunch out, he was like eating, and then like the other like the doctor guy was doing paperwork, you know, like so they were doing stuff, but they weren't at all focused on me in any way, shape, or form. And um they needless to say, they were a little bit surprised when I came back. Like the one guy dropped his lunch on the floor. They all were startled. They all like jumped, like, oh, whatever. And I as soon as I could catch my breath, I looked at the doctor and I was like, did you say I was a junkie? And he wouldn't answer. He looked at me like, oh my God. Like he looked a little worried. And he wouldn't answer. And I just kept asking the question over and over again. And it was, I guess now I see that it was because he was thinking I was like trying to get him in trouble maybe or something, like, but I just needed to know because in those instants, in those seconds, since I had came back, and I realized that like, if I heard that, right, then that means that I could still hear what was going on, even though allegedly I'm dead, right? Like, so, I need to know, because if he says I'm making it up, then this is not real. Like, and this is like my neurons are misfiring or whatever they say happens with the chemicals in your brain when you die that account for these things. But no, he finally apologized and was like, sorry, like, what'd you expect? Like, and I just, and then I was just like, oh shit. Like at that point I was like, then it hit me, but it still didn't really hit me as much as it would later. But like, I was like, oh my God. And then, they're like, yeah, you've been dead for 5 minutes, 58 seconds, like whatever, since they called time of death. And, but I'm supposed to be dead, like clinically dead. Like, and the thing that scared me was like, now that I think about it, is like, I came back, right? But like, that means that people that die, like, is that like they get wheeled out and they can watch the whole process happen? And like, I don't know. It's just weird to me. Like, I just, I was like, wow. I mean, we definitely see, I was standing there watching the whole thing. And, so, but anyways, I like before this, I had a lot of problems in my life, right? Like a drunk, I was an alcoholic, and acting really dumb and being really irresponsible and being a victim about my own circumstances. Like, everything, like my misfortune or my bad luck or whatever. And, I wasn't going anywhere in life at all. I had, stagnated completely and, was in a bad situation, like bad way. And when I came home from the hospital, which they let me out, dude, the same day. Okay. Like they let me out of the hospital the same, like 8 hours later.
Okay. So you were clinically dead for 6 minutes and they let you go home the same day.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
My insurance did. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions around your near-death experience. So, when you were dead, you heard the doctor say that, well, she's just a junkie, so call it. And it sounds like you verified that immediately.
Yeah. That was yeah.
And you had mentioned about what's so fascinating to me is that when you would think of something, immediately you were there. And you mentioned your 2 daughters. Did you ever verify that what you saw was what they were actually doing?
I absolutely did. I talked to my daughter the same day and I had her send me a picture of what she was wearing. I didn't tell her why. And she did, and I lost it. Like I, was like, oh my God, how would I know that? Like whatever, And then I asked her, did you take a test today in class? And she said I did. And she didn't ask why I was asking that question. But then later, a couple hours later, she called me. She goes, Mom, you died? Like, because I hadn't told her. Like but she heard it, like from my ex-husband. Like he told her, like, oh, your mom's home from the hospital. She had no idea. So didn't know. She was very mad at me. Yeah. But yes, I verified that. And then I asked my ex-husband what they were doing while I was in the, while I was being treated. And he said, yeah, she was playing with the Legos. So, I that one wasn't more specific though. Like that one was, I don't know when she was playing with Legos, but I mean, yeah. So that one I didn't verify as much, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm so curious to understand what was going on in your mind as you were verifying these things. And also when you were dead, did you know you were dead?
Yeah, I did. So when I was verifying it, what was going through my head was a lot of stuff. It was like, this isn't possible. This can't be possible. Like, I don't believe in this stuff. Like this is not supposed to happen. Like, so it was a huge crisis for me. Like, you know, it was a shock. But, you know, while I was deceased, like I, so I recognized like when I said, so it's kind of weird because it's like, yes, I knew and then I didn't know, like I knew, but like it's interesting. So like when I saw myself and I said, shit, that sucks. I immediately said, huh, I still have my snarky personality. And I don't know why I said that to myself. Like, I don't know why I said that because they were like, you know what I mean? Like, why would I think that I wouldn't be that? Like, I don't know. So it was weird because and then I, you know, when I realized I didn't have like a body, when I finally realized that, I was like, but like, so I've known that I've had a sneaking suspicion for many years because of things that I've seen, before this, that people probably leave their bodies before they die because part of the death process is to see yourself die so that you know that you're dead, so that you're not trying to stick around. That was my theory, just based on like ghosts that I've seen in my life or whatever spirits I've encountered. I mean, you know, that I would say was my imagination, but like I still had this idea that like maybe that's what it was. And so I was like, well, that happened. Like, you know, I did. I left my body beforehand, and you know, yeah, I saw the whole thing go down. So like, you know what I mean? Like it was kind of weird. It was very disjointed, I guess. But like at the same time, as soon as I realized I don't have a body, I'm like, you know, like, and I knew I died when I said shit that sucks, because what I was saying when I said shit that sucks, what that means in context was in my mind, I have like 5 streams of consciousness going at all times, by the way. So like I have like a very active, busy brain that talks a lot. So like what I was thinking was, damn, I'm young. Like I had a lot more time on I could have had. Like that's the things that were going through my head was like, and that all was summed up as shit that sucks. Like as in I failed. Like I failed. I didn't do it right. I definitely took the wrong turn here. I this sucks, you know. But it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so devastated over it. It was just like, you know, and that was weird. The disconnect I had from the the physical realm was alarming to me, actually. And in fact, like it caused me a lot of distress when I came back. The fact that I didn't care that much about, not that I didn't care about my kids. That's not what I'm saying. And last time I did an interview, someone like, people messaged me like, I can't believe you didn't care about your kids. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. Like, hello. What I'm saying is that I didn't have the same level of connection, like with like the missing or being sad about it that you would as a human, because I don't feel like those emotions exist on the other side because they're not necessary. Like so I looked at it just as fact, like they'll be fine because they would have been fine. But like it wasn't like I didn't love them. It was just like, oh, well, you know, I mean, and then also I can see them. So I'm not worried about it because I can still see what they're doing. So like, you know, if this continues, I can only speak for 6 minutes, right? But like after 6 minutes, I don't know what happens, but I'm going to assume that you can still continue to see the people that you were connected with. And like, therefore I wouldn't be really missing out. I would be missing out on the interaction, I guess, but like not the actual knowledge of, you know what I mean? So there was a lot going on. Like it was only 6 minutes, but time is different there. It's not linear like it is here. I don't know really how to describe it other than it's like everything exists at the same time. Like, so like my 2-year-old, 6-year-old, 12-year-old versions of me were all in the same, like everything's at the same time. Like there's no, like, it's not like a trajectory of like here from young to old. It's just like everything is. That makes, I know it doesn't make sense, but like that's basically what I understood. Because the other thing too is when you're there, when I was there, anything that you, so like, you know how they say you die, you get all the knowledge in the universe. Like, you know, that's like there's the myth about that. Well, that's not, I don't believe that that's true. I believe what happens though is that whatever you want to know about, you can get the answer for immediately. As soon as you think about it, like as soon as you think like, I wonder if, and then the answer comes.
Yeah.
So you have to know what you don't know in order to know that you need to ask about it. You know what I mean? So like, so therefore, depending on how knowledgeable you are here and how much information you think you have, or, you know, how smart you think you are, whatever, I guess then at that point, it would be a very long learning process still, but it would still be more accelerated than it is here. Does that make sense? Like, so like I did get some information because I did think of some things because I was like, test this out. Like, you know, like let me ask some questions in my head, and like I got the answers, but they were so minimal compared to what I could have. Like now I'm like, should ask this, should ask that, you know, like, but at that time it was, there was that urgency wasn't there. There was no urgency about anything. Like I felt like I was there for a long time and at no time. Like I felt like it was a long time and no time. Like both things were true. I don't know how else to put that. Like, so it's
Yeah.
yeah, it was it was interesting. I knew I died, but I also knew I was not staying. So I knew
Okay.
I was coming back.
So that right there, well, what you're saying, by the way, is very common. I have interviewed several people who've had a near-death experience. I've listened to them, and the time, what you're saying about time and the
Oh yeah.
knowledge is, it sounds like it's a recurring theme.
Oh really? I didn't know that. I don't watch other indies. Like I don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
and something that is really common is that most people want to stay. Did you have that kind of feeling that you wanted to stay there and not come
Not
back?
really. Like it was like, how am I going to fit back in? Like my concern was how I was going to fit into this avatar, right? Like
Mhm.
that's what I was concerned about. Like, and it was like maybe not, but not like what I have heard that like that I have heard from like the minimal stories that I have heard about like years ago, but I didn't think that I realized that I had work to do. Like I had stuff I needed to do. Like so I had to come back. Like I didn't want to be there in the first like it was this was I think for me I think this was a thing I did for myself. I think I planned this ahead of time because I figured I'd be off the rails at this point in my life,
Mhm.
knowing myself so well. That it would something would go wrong and this was like an exit strategy if I wanted to take it kind of thing maybe, but like I yeah, like no, I definitely was like, no, this is not my time. Like, not like I wasn't like mad about it, but I was just like, it was indifference.
Yeah,
Either way would have been fine, I
got it.
guess. What I'd say, I guess.
So when you were like in that room and meeting your higher self, did you experience any kind of life review?
No, I'm like just the knowledge that this was a thing that was gonna happen. Like that so the thing that I asked
Mhm.
when I was there was about that. It was about like, am I going to be, because I was not asking to get the information because I wasn't aware yet you could do that, at the moment. But like, I was like, am I going to get judged for like, and I was thinking about dumb stuff. Like I was thinking about like reading tarot cards, like witchcraft. Like that's what I was worried about. Like I was like, oh my God, am I going to go to hell for that? And,
Right.
and like that,
I mean, I think those are pretty valid questions,
I
right?
guess, right. But like, I always figured that it was nonsense, but like, it's an indoctrinated guilt that I was carrying with me my whole life, like because I grew up really religious, right? So like I was worried about that, and that was like kind of in the forefront of my mind. Like, and I know it sounds really stupid because compared to the other things I could have been thinking about, but I was a little concerned that my soul might be doomed to eternal hell. So like,
Yeah.
as soon as I thought that, instantaneously I was informed that that's not a thing, and like that you don't get reviewed, you don't get judged by somebody else or another thing. It's that you are the one that judges yourself, and based on the information that like based on the goals that you had set for yourself going into this lifetime and the way that you could have responded to those things, how did you do? And so at the end of the day, you're the one that judges you. And like and it's because you have this understanding of how things should be, and it's not arbitrary. It's not one or the other. There's just like a way that things are supposed to be, like that you're supposed to be kind to other people, that you're supposed to be helpful, and you're not supposed to be a jerk. Okay, like that's just the facts. Like I mean, that's what I understood, and so it's like based on those things, like what that's how you're going to judge yourself, and you're not going to do it fairly because you can't lie to yourself. That you can't make up stuff there. Like it's not possible. We don't have those capabilities. That's what free will is here. Free
Yeah.
will is here, allows us to make up lies to ourselves and tell ourselves mistruths and justify bad behaviors and actions. We don't have that. There's not existing on the other side. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? So like if I did something wrong, I have to confront that, and I
Yeah.
have to be accountable for it. And there's no getting around it. So I didn't go through that, but like that's what I was informed of when I asked about like if I'm going to go to this.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
like yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else you asked about? I'm curious what information you got.
That was it. That was pretty much it. Like that was pretty much it. Like that was it. I was really worried about it. I was really concerned.
I think it's a very common concern. I think the way we're conditioned here to think about some of those things
Right.
I know myself years ago, not anymore because I'm exposed to a whole new world of information. But I think those are very valid concerns. And what I'm curious about is you mentioned that somehow you had an inkling or an idea that it was planned, like one exit strategy. Would you talk about that a little bit?
So, like when I saw my higher self or whatever, like, as soon as I saw her, I recognized her from before.
Mhm.
I'd seen her when I was 13. And, yeah, I'd seen her when I was 13 and I had taken some substances that were pretty intense. And like, I seen her in the mirror and she talked to me and I yelled at her and was like, "Yeah, you're old, get out of my face." Literally, that's what happened. Yeah, I'm serious. And so I recognized her and I was like, "Oh, oh my God." You know what I mean? Like, so it like, and then as soon as she came close, like, she was there, it was like, "Oh, right." She's like, "Nope." And like, as soon as she said nope, that word is okay. So like, it's really hard to explain.
Mhm.
Like, she said one word to me, but like, imagine that one word is a zip file, right? And that zip file gets put into the, you put it on your desktop and then you click it and then you open it and there's all this other stuff inside of it, right? That's what the word nope was. It was a condensed file of other information that like has been slowly drip feeding to me like this whole time since I came back.
Yeah.
So when she said nope, I knew instantaneously what it meant. I knew exactly that this was no, this is not your take. You're not taking this one. This is damn well that you're not like all of this. She said one word, but at the same time in my head, I'm hearing all of this other stuff. And I don't know where it came. Like I don't know how to describe this properly. There's no way I can. But like basically, she said nope, and then also she said a whole bunch of other stuff, but like she didn't actually say it. So I don't know how else to say that. But it was like nope. You're not coming back. This is what you needed. This is like your wake up call. You have other stuff to do. Get your ass back down there and like take care of your business to get your shit together. Like that. It literally was like I always describe it as my karmic bitch slap because I literally like went up there to reconnect to get grounded to like and to reset. It was a reset for me. It was not death. Like it was death temporarily so that I could reset and come back and be the person that I am now.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned that because I'm curious what the what life was like for you when you said that it was hard, like it was painful coming back into your body, and immediately upon returning you verified some things to actually know, but you said that that zip file has been slowly being fed to you since that happened. So what was that like, your transition back into like reality or
It
the
was
world?
hard. It was hard because like my ex-husband, he wasn't in their room with me. And so he's telling me I'm imagining all this, right?
Mhm.
Despite the fact that the doctors, I mean, like he knows I died, but he doesn't believe that. Like he didn't believe that I had this experience. And
Right.
so I immediately knew that I couldn't be around this person anymore because this was so profound. Like I wasn't a believer in any of this, like at all. Like even though I'd had experiences my whole life of like weird stuff happening, like haunted houses, whatever, like stuff that I can't explain. That's why I turned to science. Like I was a scientist for 20 years. Like I worked in research and development for the VA hospital, for UCLA, like for UC Davis, like and under government contract. Like I worked in logic. I dealt in facts and black and white thinking. Like this is good, this is bad, this is possible, this is not possible. Like because the experience I had as a kid were so scary to me that I needed something to tell me it wasn't true, right? So I turned to science and like I love science still to this day, but like it doesn't know everything. So I I needed like this was like what like this is not supposed to be possible. So like this is hard for me to grasp in the first place, right? Like it's hard for me to like accept that this happened and him like not being able to like even like I would not say that like he should have known me enough. Like he knew like I didn't believe in this. Like so why would I make this up? Like why would that be like this is a thing that's really impacting how I'm handling my life right now. Like at this moment. And like this is not it wasn't supposed to happen. I wasn't excited about it. I wasn't happy about it. I wasn't like going around telling I haven't talked the first time I talked about it was just last year for the first time. I've never even
Oh,
talked
wow.
about it before. No, because I
Yeah.
didn't and this happened years ago. Like 8 years ago. Like this is not I wasn't talking about it because I didn't want people to think I was crazy. I didn't want to lose my job as a teacher because, if parents find out then they hear that they'll literally get you fired for that stuff. Like, that's
Yeah.
great. But like, and so I didn't talk about it because it was too freaking traumatic for me. It was even though like I got good stuff out of it, the experience itself was very traumatizing. And like, so having to deal with that and having to like constantly question whether or not it happened or not, right? Like, did it really happen? Like the doctors are saying I died. Okay. So yeah, but like, was this, and then I have proof, but I have these proofs, like from the doctor confirming, from my daughter sending me that picture, like, and confirming she took a test. Like those are tangible evidence, like pieces of evidence. But still, as a skeptic that I am, I still was like like I still had a hard time just believing it in myself, because it's like not supposed to be possible in my book. Like it wasn't supposed to be possible. So there was a huge crisis of like reality.
Yeah.
Also, but the one thing it did do, funny enough, despite me being like kind of not believing it myself in the beginning, it did get rid of all of that Christian indoctrinated guilt, like immediately. Like I don't know how that works, but like I guess that's my confirmation bias. Was like I was like, yes, I got information that is not true, and now I'm going to run with it, because and that helped me a lot, because I had been struggling my whole life with this like duality in me that was causing me to be highly incongruent, like, and not be able to be my authentic self. Like I like science, I also like esoteric stuff. Those things can't be together. So I can't be a whole person. I have to be this person sometimes, that person the other times. But this experience made me, without a shadow of a doubt, understand that nope, they're the same damn thing. They're just different ends of a spectrum. That's it. They're still the same. Like magic is science, science is magic. Like it's the same stuff. And like, I'm not going to hell for tarot cards. Tarot cards are like, when I get that information, it's coming from the collective unconscious, which is what I saw, what I understood happening there. Like it's not evil. Like it's none of that. It's like, it's just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it's bad. Like, but that's our tendency on this earth, to demonize literally things that we don't understand. And that's because people are scared, and scared equals fear. So, and like, so I was able to ditch that, thank God. And now, from that, I've been able to actually be like 100% who I actually am, without fear of, that, besides the people that will email me and tell me I'm going to hell. I get that a lot.
I 100% understand everything you were just talking about. And I had a couple of curiosities. I'm not sure if I can formulate words to ask this question
Okay.
in a correct way, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
So when you were explaining your near-death experience, it was like, not that there was no feeling, but it wasn't like charged or intense emotion. And it was like matter of fact, like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And then after returning and being back in your body, there was like a struggle with, did that happen? Could it be true? And I'm curious, because I know you're also into psychology, right?
Yeah, I'm getting my doctorate in it right now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm curious if there's something that is limiting around our minds or our
Yes.
brain in
Oh
this
yeah.
reality. Yeah, can you talk about
Oh
that?
yeah. So okay. So I missed earlier when you asked me about other stuff that I asked, like, and I said there was a couple other things, and I okay. So one of them was like, why does everybody hate each other? Like, why that was a question I asked. Like, why is there so much hate in the world? Like, I don't know why I thought that question, but I just did. Or I don't even know if I thought it, but the information came to me. So like, I'm assuming I had to think it to get the information. But like, it's a filter. Like, there's filters. Like, it's a filter. Like, we are all. The other question was, what's God? And I got that. So, so that is a big one. I can't believe I didn't say that a minute ago. But like, so basically, I'll start with the God one first. God is not a person, not a guy in the sky with a tablet keeping track of your sins. It's an energy. It's a consciousness, and I don't care if you believe me or not. This is my truth. Okay, so like, anyone out there, don't come at me. Okay, like, just saying, this is my truth. This is what I experience. It is a consciousness, an energy that is 8 billion of it. So like, it's a mirror, and it shatters into 8 billion pieces, and every single one of us is a fragment of that mirror, living our life on this earth as Anna Stone, as whoever you are. And then when we leave this body, we go back up, and it coalesces back together again. And then now this huge sea of knowledge that is there for the collective to pull from. That's what God is. Like, so basically what I'm saying is that we are all God. Like, all of us are. We all have a fragment of that creator in us. It's not separate from us, not outside of us. Like, and this was very clear to me in this experience. Like, beyond, this is like the number one takeaway I had, was that we are all divine. Like, there's no intermediary needed. There's no person that's holy that needs to come and give us a relationship with that, the divinity that is us, within us. And like and then also the color of our skin, our sexual orientation, our political beliefs, all that are filters that are put there so that we can be as far away from the truth as possible, which is that we're all the same thing, that we're all one and the same. And like when you hurt someone else, you're hurting yourself at the end of the day. Like it's literally all the same. So the filters that we have and our limiting beliefs are, yeah, it's like a way for us to keep, it's almost like it's like on purpose, I would say. Like, so I've been thinking about this a lot. It's like a purposeful thing to keep us far away from the truth, like far from the truth that we are what we are. Because I think once we understand that and fully believe it, it unlocks a lot of things that like will change our lives. And I think that's kind of happening now. Like more people are starting to understand, and like there's a shift in like things. And when I think if a big enough number of people understood this and really believed it and like lived it, then things would be a lot different on this earth, right? But then I think there's people that don't want that to happen. So I think these filters are kind of placed there to kind of keep us like, because I think our purpose, like everyone's purpose in this on this earth, like aside from the individual lessons that we have to learn, I guess, right? Which who knows what those are like, like for everybody's different, but the main ones that are collective are the ones of like love yourself as you would, love your neighbor as you would yourself. But so for that to happen, you have to first love yourself. And a lot of us don't love ourselves and at all. We think we do, but we're mistaken. We are arrogant and ego driven instead. And that's not love. Like love is accepting what you are for what you are and not, like not beating yourself up about things or not trying to compare to other people or whatever. And like in this society, that's impossible because everyone's on social media, blah, blah, blah. Like all these things, if you just look at time over time and memoriam, like more and more and more things come to like take us away from the idea that we are, like divine, like that everything else comes and we have to be, in competition with this person, that person, like get this look, that look. No, nobody loves themselves for themselves. And like that's the rule, that's the goal. So if you can't love your neighbor if you don't love yourself, right? But so like this is the hardest lesson. I mean, we've never been able to achieve this. We cannot get along, right? At all. Like it doesn't, there's always gonna be somebody that's like, I don't like you because of this. Like, are you serious? Like, are you that small-minded that you really have to give a crap about somebody else's personal choice? Like, what? Why? Like, it doesn't impact you. Leave it alone. Like, just be accepting of people. Don't be judgy. Like, this is what my 100%, like, I was like, wow, I have some biases. Everybody has biases. Everybody has some kind of experience. They've had something that made them have like a bad taste in their mouth about a certain thing or whatever. Like, I needed to check all that at the door now because I had to rethink my whole entire existence. Like I had to rethink everything that I knew to be true. Like there is something after this life. In fact, this is not even what I understood. And I don't know how I understood this. Again, I don't know if I asked it or it just came to me, but like I understood that this is a blip of our time. Like because we're forever. Like we've always have been, we always will be. Like this is just like a learning course, we're like a class, basically. And like we signed up for it. And so I'm thinking I must be pretty, like my higher self's pretty badass to make this life I've had because it's been pretty tough. But like I'm serious, like we're learning things here because we don't have those emotions on the other side. Like, yeah, there's emotion. Like I love my kids. I loved my kids when I was not physically alive anymore. But the stress of like, what am I going to do? That was non-existent. There was not stress. There was no stress. There was no like upset about what was happening. It just, this is what it is because I knew, and this is what I found out like a couple days later, I was beating myself up at home. I was like, I can't believe I wasn't more upset about my children because now I'm back in human mind, right? Like I'm back in my human head and I'm like thinking with human brain. So like now I'm like, did that really happen? I'm gaslighting myself, telling me that maybe it was my imagination, like the things that people do. I can't imagine anybody in this situation that would not question it. Like if you might be a little nuts if you didn't question it a little bit because you need to be grounded, right? Like you need to make sure that you're not losing your mind. So of course you try to like balance it with what, how is this possible? But we can't comprehend it. Like it's not, our brains don't let us comprehend it because of these filters, like these limiting beliefs that we have. And even after this even after the evidence, I'm like, I was still kind of not sure. But a couple days later, I'm like thinking, I'm such a bad mom. I was just fine with leaving my kids. I was just fine with it. Like I was really beating myself up about it. And then I hear in my head really loud, because you knew you were coming back, dummy. That's what I heard really loud. And I was like, oh, right. You're
You.
right. And that's what I said out loud to myself. My husband's like, what? I'm like, nothing, I was talking to myself. Because in that instant, I heard my own voice tell me that I was a dummy and like that I knew it was coming back. And then I acknowledged at that moment, it snapped something on, and I was like, oh, that's right. And then I just knew like that was the plan. That had been the plan. That's right. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you're right. We already talked about that. Like, so that was like the first drip feed of information like coming, like that little knowing. And since then there's been more. It's just about really random stuff though, like nothing really big, like that would matter to other people, but like for myself, yes. Like for my own personal journey, there's been stuff. It's nothing like, like world shattering knowledge, I wish, but like, no, it's my own personal journey that this stuff has been kind of unfolding for me. And
Mhm.
like just understanding why certain things in my life happened, or like that kind of stuff. Like, why did this horrible thing happen to me? And then I get an answer for it now. And so, and that didn't used to happen. Like I used to again be stuck in that victim mentality of like, why, like, oh, woe is me, my life sucks, blah blah blah. Like, and I don't even visit that place anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wow. That's really powerful. Thank you so much for taking us through that journey. It leads me to another curiosity, and I know you briefly mentioned it earlier about drinking a lot. And what I wrote down in my notes as I was preparing for this is that I am a recovered alcoholic, and I tried for 5 years to stop drinking. And sometimes I tried on my own. Sometimes I'd go to an AA meeting, or sometimes I'd work with a mentor, but I never really had what they called, once I finally got sober, a psychic change. Now, I'd love for you to talk about how your near-death experience impacted your drinking, if you would talk
yeah.
about that.
Wait, can you? I think you just might have helped me with something here. Psychic change, that's what they call it?
Yeah, so in 12 step, we do the 12 steps so that we can change our thinking out of that victim mentality, out of that woe is me, self-pity, like I suck and I've done all this bad shit and I'm never going to get better.
Okay.
And each attempt that I made to get sober without actually doing the inner work, I would relapse until a sponsor told me nothing's going to change until you have a psychic change, which is what got me to do the steps and to do the work. So it sounds like to me in your story that kind of happened for
I
you.
mean, I think so. Like, I think you just finally put an answer. Thank you. Like, I can't tell you, like, I feel like I want to cry because I've been trying to figure this out since it happened. Like, why did this happen? What I'm going to, I'll share now, like, about, so, and I couldn't figure it out, but I think you just solved that for me. Oh my God, I love you.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
so awesome.
Oh my God, like, seriously. Wow. Okay, sorry. I'm getting a little, like, upset, like, a little,
I'm going to cry too. Sorry.
sorry. Sorry, guys. Okay, so, wasn't expecting that. So I was a drunk loser. Like I had been an Oxycontin addict previously, like I got hooked by a doctor, like I had some back pain, whatever. I did that for 10 years. I got off of it and I went mainly to drinking because that's how I roll. And that drinking was the worst thing I've ever done in my life. It caused so much problems. It was 2 years, only 2 years, but it was bad. A lot of bad things happened. I lost like everything during that. It was just a nightmare. And I was a drunk when I died. And the first thing I did when I got back home was try to drink alcohol. That's the first damn thing I did. I went to the fridge and I grabbed a beer and I went to drink it and it just foamed up in my mouth, like all gross. I have a texture issue with food and stuff. And like this is like the worst thing it could have happened to me, and like how it could have been. And it like got hot like really fast and like just foamed up and I was like, oh, and I had to like spit it out. And I tried again, and the same thing happened. Tried again, same thing happened. I went to a different kind of alcohol. Tried that, same thing happened. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, I'm thinking to myself, it's some body chemistry thing that happened because of the new blood in my system. That was my thought process, right?
The
And
transfusion.
right, yeah. And so I just couldn't drink. Like, I physically couldn't drink. And like then the next time I talked to my doctors, I was like, what's going on? They're like, it's not from that though. It's not from the blood transfusion. I never heard of that before. He's like, take it as a blessing. And so I did. I was like, you know what, like I can't drink anyway, might as well, like, and I just had all this blood. So I was, there's a couple of things with it. Like I lost half my blood, So that alcohol in my blood, in my system, was basically gone, flushed out. So I didn't have the DTs or whatever, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm assuming that those things all factored in to why it was easy for just stop, because I just never drank again after that. So
Yeah.
like that was just it. So 6 minutes of death equaled me not being an alcoholic anymore.
Mhm.
Um, and the other thing too is like like I came back and suddenly I had like goals like all of a sudden that came out of nowhere. And things that like if you told me I was gonna be doing what I'm doing now, I would have laughed at you and told you were like smoking crack. I would have been like, what's wrong with you? Like you're crazy. Like I would never do those things.
Mhm.
A teacher? Are you kidding me? Like Anna Stone, a teacher? Give me a break. I was a terrible student in high school. I ditched all the time. I never showed up. Like I was not even, I didn't even get good grades because I didn't apply myself, whatever. Like, why would I want to be a teacher? Like school sucked. I was like, I had a bad time in high school. Like people bullied me. Like it was not fun. Like, so why would I want to teach? Like it's crazy. That's what I've been doing for the past like 8 years now. And I love it. And now I'm teaching college, but like, I did my stint in high school and
Mhm.
I had goals. All of a sudden I had like this knowing that I had to do something to pay it forward. Like I got renewed, right? I got revitalized. Like I got my drive back. I got my self back. Like I got my sense of self back. Like, and I never really formed great anyway from the beginning, but like, and now I had some like that during the time I was drinking and stuff, I had lost it completely. Like I didn't even know who I was. And
Mhm.
now, at this point, I'm like, I have goals. I got to go back to school. I got to finish my college. I got to start teaching. Some god awful reason. I don't know why I said that, but I did. And then like, then the next thing I know, someone hires me as a teacher. I don't even remember applying for this job, honestly, like, because I didn't go to school to be a teacher,
Right.
but they hired me anyway. And like, then I was really good at it. And like, started teaching biology, and I started working with youth that were like kicked out of the district. If they're like the problem kids, whatever. And I say that not they weren't, they were just, had issues that the school district couldn't handle. So they sent
Mhm.
them to our school, and like those are my people. Like I loved that job. And then I just kept, like as my education went on, I got my bachelor's finished and I got my first master's, and now I'm on my second master's and my PhD. Like those things are something I would never have like oh, what? Like honor roll, straight A students, like what scholarships, like that's where I'm at now. And it's like it's so night and day. Like, and I could never see myself out of school now. I love it so much that I always want to be work in academics and education. It's just like the whole person changed, like not just how I look, because I look different. Because like I think when you do drugs and alcohol, like you look different, like your body retains water differently, like all kinds of things. So I look different, I feel different, and my mindset's 100% different. Like people that know me from back before are like, it's like you died, like you did die, because this is, it's like my younger self, uh then there's like this period of time where I was this bad version of myself, right? And that just got kind of removed. Like, and now it's like I can't even relate back to that. I can't relate
Yeah.
to how that version of me used to think, how they none of it. Like it's so foreign to me. It just feels like it was light years ago, and like or not at all. So I'm glad for that, because I don't want any part of it. But now it's different. Now my life has purpose. Like I am a much better mother, like but by I can't even, like it's night and day. I care about I care about other people. I don't complain about my circumstances. I don't feel as a victim anymore. I feel that now all of those things that happened previously were happened for a reason, so that I could now help other people go through the same situation. Like and get them out on the other side younger than I am. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so they have more life to live healed than I did. You know what I mean? Like that's my goal. And so like now I'm like helping people with childhood trauma, helping and I'm teaching, at college, like academics, but then on the side I'm doing like inner child healing stuff, work with clients, helping people connect with that, like their inner child, to help heal it from that stuff. The stuff that I've been doing the work on, and like helping other people. And it's like the most rewarding thing ever. And 8 years ago, I would have just laughed in your face and opened another beer and been like, dummy, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I had that experience. As traumatic as it was, it was something that if I hadn't died, I would be dead probably. And that's
Yeah.
kind of a strange way to say it, but it's true. Like I would have been, yeah, this wouldn't be happening at all. And
Yeah.
and then my kids, who knows, then they would have been screwed. Like and that's the other thing. And that's the other thing too, is I realized when I came back that if I had died, the memories my kids had of me would have sucked.
Yeah.
And when they thought about me, they would have thought about a drunk idiot that had anger problems, that had money, like all just always drama.
Mhm.
And that was a big thing for me. I was like, I have got to make sure that like my legacy is not that. Like I have got to make sure that when my kids think back about how I was as a mom, that they're like, she loved us, she cared about us, she did whatever she could for us, like those things, not like the, oh God, that drunk idiot that birthed me. Yeah, like that's not what I wanted, that was a harsh, it's hard to admit, right? Because no one wants to admit that you're like not a good parent, but I wasn't. I was just very selfish and like, I was wrong. And now I'm, I don't talk about, I don't tell them promises. I just do. I just
Yeah.
do stuff so that they see it. And it's not, they don't have to hear the, I'm sorry. I mean, I've apologized, of course, but like words only matter so much. It's actions that matter. So the last 8 years have been a consistent effort of me undo any of the damage that I may have done and I did do. And that's not just for my kids, but for everybody around me. So,
Yeah.
and myself, and to forgive myself for how I behaved, because I can't go backwards. I can only go forwards, and I can't dwell on the past forever. So, now I just look forward and do my best. And I'm super grateful to be given another chance, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I won't go into my story, but just how relatable they are, other than the actually dying.
Yeah.
That's the only part that didn't exist in my story was actually being dead. But
I think that we all like, I think that, you can maybe think of it this way, like reframe it like a part of you died when you got sober,
yeah,
because the part of the toxic part is not with you anymore, right? So
right.
that is a you got a death experience right there. So it's not
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Well, geez, this has been so much fun. I have a few questions to ask you before we close, but
Okay.
before that, is there anything that we haven't covered today that you want to share with the world? Anything that's coming in, burning desires?
I mean, I just like think that everybody needs to chill out and like do their own thing. Like I don't get like why there's so much out, like everyone's always offended by everything, and like and it just like it baffles my mind. Like, don't you have hobbies, like, stuff to do? Like stop. Like just chill, like work on you. Like if you're so like, okay, I learned the hard way and I had to look at myself, and I'm a Leo, so I'm really like, I don't like being wrong and I don't like looking bad. Okay. So but I'm gonna go there. Like I had to take a deep dark look at myself and say that, you got some bad habits, Anna. Like, you got some bad things going on here. Like, so I think everybody needs to do that and be like, hey, when I'm upset about other people's stuff that doesn't impact me, like not related to me in any way, shape, or form, what is it about myself that I'm really upset with? Because it's not about the people around you. It's about you. You got something going on that you don't want to talk about. And this is psychology 101. Maybe it's not 101, but like, some like mid-level psychology. Okay. Like that you're projecting. Whenever you get offended and outraged by somebody else's actions or whatever that they're doing, and as long as it's not like harming somebody else, like, of course we get upset about like people getting killed and stuff like that. But I'm talking about like just people living their lives and you don't agree with how they're living their life for whatever reason. First of all, calm down. They're like, who the hell are you to say? Okay, I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care who you are. You're not that. You need to stop it. Second of all, like it means that you, that person, you have something in you that you dislike about yourself. And that's why you are projecting onto other people.
Mhm.
And you need to stop, like get yourself healed. And then you won't be all up in arms all the time about other people's business, because it ain't yours, their business. Like this is the thing that really bothers me a lot.
Mhm.
So I mean, honestly, because it's like, I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with me, but like, let it be. It's not why get upset. Like you got
Yeah,
other things you could be doing. A lot of other things you could be doing. You could channel that energy in something else that's way more positive than being outraged all the time and causing problems and being a Karen. Like stop,
right,
that's
right.
my soapbox. Thanks.
I need to show this to my kids. I'm always like, if we don't have something nice to say, we don't say
That's
it.
right.
Like it
Yeah.
is actually really that easy.
It is that easy.
We apply ourselves.
Yeah, and then the other thing too is like, then they say like, like religious stuff. Well, you're not supposed to judge other people. That is for God and God alone.
Yeah.
But like, and you know what? When God judges you, they judge you, not other
Yeah.
people. So
Right.
like you, not other people. So like at the
Yeah.
end of the day, being a judgy jerk is one of the biggest sin. So because you're going to get you're acting like you are the end all be all of someone else's thing, but only you can judge you, and only they can judge them at the end of the day. So like, stop. Other things to do, dude. There's other things out there that need your attention, and that kind of like, dedication and like a passion about how much you hate other people. You could be channeled into something much more productive. I'm just saying, like,
Absolutely.
2 cents, like take it or leave it. You probably leave it, but still, I tried.
Awesome. That was so awesome. Thank you so much. The first question that I ask all my guests is, and you've actually already touched on this, but I'm going to just ask it again.
Okay.
So, how would you define God?
So God is an energy. It's an all-encompassing thing. It's the source of consciousness. Like, it's us. We're all it. Like when we all die and we go back up wherever that is, wherever I was at, that we are all together as one thing. Like, and that's God. Whatever. I don't really know how to articulate it properly. It's just a consciousness. It's what it is. It's like the universe is conscious, and like that's it. And I have no other. There's no language on earth that we possess that properly allows me to answer that question properly. Sorry.
No, I get it. Actually, I know that, language is so limited here in this reality. And it's one of the reasons I asked the question, because it's so fun to be in this seat and to hear all the different ways we're all trying to define it without even having to define it. It's actually really fascinating.
Yeah.
So the second question is, what would you say is the purpose of life?
Right. Well, it's not to pay bills and to be stressed out. Like that's for sure. It's not to be jerks to each other and kill each other in war either. It's none of that. And it's not to be hoarding all of the resources and all the money either. It is to, again, like, we've been saying it forever, like, do unto others as you would have like done to you. Like, why is that so hard? It is hard. That's what it is. The whole purpose is to learn to love yourself in a real way, not an ego way, so that you can then pay it forward and love other people too. That's what it's about. And like, I know it sounds like kumbaya, hippy dippy, whatever, but that's what it is. And like, and the fact that some of y'all will say that sounds hippy dippy kumbaya nonsense is exactly the point. There's evidence right there that that's what it is. Because whenever we have that knee-jerk visceral reaction to something, it means that it strikes a chord in us somewhere in our subconscious, and that's because you already know the truth. And you can do all the mental gymnastics you need to do to try to justify that it's not true, but it is, and you'll see. But like, hey, you could do, you kind of get a little head start on it by trying it out now. That might be wise.
Awesome. And the final question is, if you could take one piece of wisdom that you have now and offer it to a younger version of yourself, what would that one piece of wisdom be?
Damn. Man, that your gut instinct is right, that you need to trust yourself more, that what people, just because adults say things doesn't mean it's true, that your inner knowledge, that your intuition or whatever is on point, and like don't let other people gaslight you into believing it's not, and to always, and don't conform just because that's the norm. I'm sorry, like that is like that whole thing, your intuition's on point, and so like if you feel like something's wrong, it's wrong. Like that's it, you don't have, that's what it would be, because I think I suffered a lot at the hands of like trying to just fit in and like go with the status quo, and like to my detriment at the end of the day. And then of course it ended up all being nonsense and like time wasted, opportunities wasted because of it. So always like be true to yourself, like be true to yourself, because yourself at your core knows exactly who you are, exactly what you need to do, and exactly where you need to be. And like, it's when you let other influences come and mess with you like that, that's when you get off track. And if you just like, and I mean, it's almost impossible though, that's, I definitely would have told her that.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you so much. How do people get in touch with you if they want to work with you or interview you?
Yeah, sure. So I have my website, which is A Stone Tarot, like A for Anna, Stone, my last name, and then tarot for tarot cards, right? But also that's my handle on Instagram, Twitter, um, TikTok, and Facebook also. So, I have different ways to get in touch with me, all those. And then also, like, I do different things. I work with people for tarot card readings, whatever. And then also for inner child, like shadow work stuff. And then also, like, I also do like free readings on my YouTube channel, which is A Stone Tarot and Magic with a K, with a CK at the end, not just regular magic, but magic. Like, and I have a podcast that I co-host with my friend Stephanie Siren, every other week, on Fridays, and it's about esoteric knowledge, and like, we talk about all kinds of crazy stuff, like, really fun. And we talked last time about demonology. Like, we talk about psychic abilities, with anything goes, and like, we take suggestions from our viewers, and so it's really fun. And we do free readings. So if there's people that are in a financial bind and they need a reading, then they can hop on there and get a free one. So I always like to make sure that I'm making sure that anyone that needs help like that is able to get it, right? So yeah, so that's how you can find me.
Perfect. I will include all of that information in the description of this show. So, once again, this has been so much fun, Anna, and I just thank you so much for sharing your experience, for following your now passions, and teaching and offering everything that you're doing to help us raise our consciousness and make this world a better place.
Thank you. I'm
So,
trying.
thank you.
Hard. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been really a pleasure. Thank you so much.
I would like to personally thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you haven't already, please be sure to like this episode, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications so that you never miss a beat. And if you really resonated with this content, please share it with all of your friends so that collectively we can expand our consciousness. Have a very blessed week.